Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Liz Loves Books. Let's get into some nail-biting short horror book recs. Horror tends to have this on Goodreads because it's very subjective to the reader, so don't take it as, oh, this is a bad book because the rating is low. Anything for me like 3 stars and above I liked. Usually within that 3-star range there are some things I would change or just things I didn't relate to. So, without further ado, let's get into our books. Starting with Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This has 256 pages and it has a 3.44 average rating on Goodreads, and I rated it 3 stars. Little tagline says, "One day the mother was a mother, but then one night she was quite suddenly something else." Now this is a big take on feminism and kind of goes into that feminist horror genre. I was recommended this book by one of my old coworkers who is a mother of 2, and she talked about it and she was just raving about it, but I am not a mother, so I don't think it hit me as hard as it probably would have. So if you are a mother, maybe read it, but also maybe don't, because it's very intense, deals with a lot of like depression, anxiety, almost makes you feel like the mother is regretting and or jealous in a way of the child. So it's horror. It's gonna be very, very subjective. It's gonna be controversial. So another part of the blurb says, instead, quite suddenly, she starts gaining things, surprising things that happen one night when her child will not sleep. Sharper canines, strange new patches of hair, new appetites, new instincts, and from deep within herself, a new voice. So as you can tell from that little blurb, gives off werewolf vibes. And that's all I will say. Then next I have 2 books here, and that is Strange Houses and Strange Pictures by Yuketsu. I just read Strange Pictures in September and just finished Strange Houses yesterday as of filming this. These are companion novels, and they are Japanese horror fiction. Strange Pictures is around 236 pages with a 3.98 average rating, and I gave this a 3 star. And Strange Houses is about 208 pages with a 3.68 average rating, and I gave it a 3.5, rounding up to a 4 star. I enjoyed this one quite a bit more. I think because it was a little bit shorter, it didn't drag on as long. But going back to Strange Pictures, and first, I love the covers of these and the colors. I am debating on if I should keep them on my shelves or unhaul them, because I'm trying to keep my shelves to 4 stars and above. So let me know in the comments below if you think I should keep them on my shelves, because they're really fun and bright. Anyway, Strange Pictures. It says, an exploration of the macabre where the seemingly mundane takes on a terrifying significance. And this has 4 different stories within it, but they are all interconnected in some way. So the first story, and they are split into chapters here. The first story is the old woman's prayer, then the smudged room, the art teacher's final drawing, and the bird safe in the tree. And as you can see, they've got various pictures and art throughout it. And basically, big description of this is a pregnant woman sketches on a seemingly innocuous blog concealed of a chilling warning. A child's picture of his home contains a dark secret message. A sketch made by a murder victim in his final moments leads an amateur sleuth down a rabbit hole that will reveal a horrifying reality. That's all I'm going to say, because horror books, you want to be surprised. So I don't want to spoil anything. Then Strange Houses follows a freelance writer and an architect who are trying to solve a riddle of these strange floor plans that they ran into, like this one on the cover. It starts off with these floor plans and them trying to figure out what is strange about them. It says, what are these mysterious strange spaces and why do they exist? Are they really there? Or is there something off with the floor plan? The home's a former resident who suddenly disappeared. I highly recommend out of both of them this one, because you can read them separately. Then next, I have another book that I read recently, The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. This was a request from my fiance to read. He usually picks one or two very like horror thriller books for me to read during spooky season. This is 164 pages and has a Goodreads average rating of 4.08, and I gave it a 3-star. This also is a book to movie adaptation, and the movie is Hellraiser. Very intense horror, gory. I don't think I'll be watching it because even the book was a little too intense for me. In a quiet house on a quiet street, Frank and Julia are having an affair. Not your ordinary affair. For Frank, it began with his own insatiable sexual appetite, a mysterious lacquered box, and then an unhinged voyage to a netherworld of unimaginable pleasures and unimaginable horror. Now Frank, or what is left of Frank, waits in an empty room. All he wants is to live as he was before. All Julia can do is bring him her unfulfilled passions and a little flesh and blood. So, morning. Very gory. Very gross. I was cringing while I was reading it, especially near the end. I would say this is extreme horror, so if you're not into that, don't pick this one up. But if you are, pick it up. Then we have This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. I was able to pick this up from my library last fall and read it. It's only 93 pages, but it packs a punch. It has a Goodreads average rating of 3.70, and I gave it a 4-star rating. It basically just follows a mother and a daughter who have a very tense relationship, almost estranged to a degree, and they are going to an isolated cabin in the middle of nowhere to try to reconnect and get back that relationship they once had. There's a lot of familial trauma in this, and basically just discusses a lot of that, and it takes a big turn that you will not expect. I promise you. I'm not going to say more than that because this was just a wild ride. You could read it in one sitting in one day, which is really great. Then we're going to move on to my last couple, and they're all by the same author, and that is Eric LaRocca. He, I would say, is considered an extreme horror author. He writes a lot of novellas, but he has now started moving into traditional novels. I've read quite a bit of his novellas. And the first book I'm going to talk about is You've Lost a Lot of Blood. This has 209 pages, a 3.24 average rating on Goodreads, and I gave it a 3-star. A little blurb says, each precious thing I show you in this book is a holy relic from the night we both perished, the night when I combed you from my hair and watered the moon with your blood. These ones I'm not going to give much description because the cover and the blurb will speak for itself. Then we have Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes. This one's a little longer at 283 pages because it has the longer story, which is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, and then some shorter stories behind that. It has a Goodreads overall average rating of 3.18, which is so low, and I gave the story itself 4 stars. I thought it was really great. But it's 3 short stories within it, and then that one is a longer short story. The first one follows an internet chat room in the 2000s and 2 women that kind of dive down into this really weird, interconnected, very toxic, very, connected relationship. Then the second story follows a couple on a remote island after their son's death, and they are trying to get back to the relationship they had before. And then the third story follows 2 neighbors and a strange discovery that they find in one of their backyards. Then we have another collection by Eric LaRocca, The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, Collected Stories. It's 205 pages total, has a good read average rating of 3.70. Overall, I gave it a 4-star. It has 8 short stories within it and has a lot of queer elements, which is present in all of Eric LaRocca's works, if you are looking for that. Tagline says, 8 stories of literary dark fiction from a master storyteller, exploring the shadow side of love. These are tales of grief, obsession, control, intricate examinations of trauma and tragedy in raw, poetic prose. Then finally, we have We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. It is 106 pages, has a Goodreads average rating of 3.49, and I gave it a 3-star. This again deals with a lot of grief and familial trauma, which Eric writes a lot about. It also takes place in a secluded setting. It all takes place in this one apartment. Just not even the apartment complex, just one apartment itself with a mother and a daughter. It says, a precocious young girl with an unusual imagination is sent on an odyssey into the depths of depravity. After her father dies violently, Young Mara is surprised to find her mother welcoming a new guest into their home, claiming that he will protect them from the world of devastation and destruction outside their door. So very cultish, very manipulative. And this young daughter is just witnessing her mother fall down this rabbit hole, this really creepy man jumping into their lives, and all the craziness that comes with it. Those are my 10 recs for short, spooky horror books. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this was a little different for me, but I'm trying to do a lot more recommendation videos, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me down below if you are interested in novellas or any horror books, specifically around the spooky season, and I will see you guys in another video soon. Bye guys.